Right, everybody, very welcome to yet another live stream. So while we're sitting here waiting, I'm just going to set up so that I can see all of your comments. Okay, as always, it's absolutely fantastic to see you all here. There we go. Now I'm up and running. So, what do you guys want to talk about today? I am here sitting in a hotel in London, so I am here all for you for the next half an hour or so. Let's see who can come up with the first best question that we can talk about. While we're waiting, what do you guys think about the Mentour cadet program so far? You know that it's all up to you guys to make that program go forward. So make sure that you ask all the questions that you might be thinking about, and depending on what questions you're asking, we can then continue produce new videos based on those questions. So it's really up to you guys what you want them to talk about. So, we still not getting many questions, but the sound, yeah, good. So the sound is working. That's because I'm actually sitting with a really good internet connection for once. So, Honey is asking, "Hey, mentor, can you visit the country you fly to?" And yes, I can, but not while I'm working. The fact is that at least where I'm working, we are only doing 25-minute turnarounds. That means that we're landing the aircraft, we have to offload the passengers, clean the aircraft, upload fuel, get the new passengers on, set up, and go in 25 minutes. So there's not much time while I'm actually flying to visit the countries. However, I do have access to the full route network, which means that I can visit the places when I'm off, which is anyway what's more fun to do. Hit me more. What airline are you working with? Well, Mr. Berks, I've been speaking about this and I've been answering questions about this on the channel before. I am not allowed to speak about my employer. My employer does not want to be associated with the YouTube channel as such because they cannot influence what I'm talking about. So I have chosen together with them to not speak about the employer until they think that it's a good idea for me to do so, and then I will of course do it. But for now I am keeping that a very loosely kept secret. Andre Franco, how stressful do you find the 25-minute turnaround, considering your 13 years of experience? Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't find them stressful as such, but I do have to work continuously to make the 25 minutes, and the reason for that is that there's just so much that we need to do, and also with the regulations that are standing right now, we need to have one of the pilots monitoring the fueling while the fueling is going on while we have passengers on board, which means that one of the pilots has to stand outside of the aircraft watching while we're being fueled to make sure that in case of a fuel leak, for example, or a fire nearby the aircraft, we can evacuate the aircraft. But that also means that precious minutes are being lost where one of the pilots are just standing outside staring at the fuel truck, where we should be inside talking about briefings and things like that. So yeah, even with 13 years of experience, or 14 years, so it's almost 15 now, to do crafts. Do pilots get random situations of failures on the simulator, or do they always know what's going to be practiced beforehand? That's a brilliant question, actually. The fact is that what exactly is going to happen is not known to the pilots when they get into the simulator. However, the OPC, the operator proficiency check, and the license proficiency check always follow the same format. So you do know that in every LPC and OPC, you will get a normal takeoff, you will do a non-precision approach, normally followed by a circling approach. There will be an engine failure, there will be a single engine ILS, there will be a single engine go around, there will be a rejected takeoff, and there will be a passenger evacuation. And on top of that, there will also be some random failures. Those failures, they follow a pattern where all of the aircrafts are being checked over a 3-year period. So no, they don't know exactly what's going to come, but they have, if you've been here for a while, you have a fair idea of what's going to happen in the check. Then we also have training sessions, and in the training sessions we do oriented flight training. And in the loft, no one knows what's going to happen. So we let the students or the crews fly, and then different failure will appear. They will deal with them to the best of their capability, and then in the debriefing we will sit down and we will talk about what was made, in a good way, what could have been done better, so that they really get a chance to learn from the loft exercise. Right, more questions. Writing Station 7, what is the best way to get rid of fear of flying? Well, fear of flying is a fairly interesting phenomenon, actually. Um, I have been doing a bit of research on this because I wanted to talk about it in a podcast. The fact is that fear of flying is normally based not on the flying itself, not on fear of flying itself, but actually on underlying factors. So most people, they become afraid of flying when they have a really stressful time in their life, and then they do a flight and they kind of project the inside of the aircraft what actually is something else. Maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe you've just had children. That stress to the aircraft is why so many people that are afraid of flying, when you tell them the fact of flying, which is that a very rough feel, you should probably talk to a psychologist. Nervous videos where a pilot can explain what's going on, what we do during different phases of flight, because knowledge tends to relieve some of the stress. And I'm working on ways through my virtual reality application to try to help people that are afraid of flying or are nervous flyers to relieve some of that nervousness. So that's a great question. Thank you. More questions. Yusuf Dimitritas, hey mate, in our interview they ask what you think about conflicts in cockpit. What do you think about this topic? How pilots should approach the conflicts in cockpit? Ooh, that's a great question. Basically, we should all strive to avoid conflicts in the cockpit. Okay, um, CRM is extremely important, and in order for CRM to prevail, we need to avoid conflicts in the cockpit um, at every cost. If you start to have a disagreement with the captain or with your, the most important, and stay professional. Okay, you need to concentrate on what is right, not who is right. This means that if you are on of a certain things should be done in a certain way, then you what he or she is saying. Most likely they do have some point, and you can come up with an agreement together. Okay, so don't let your pride get in the way of the work you're doing. Make sure that you are looking at the safety of the flight as being paramount. So any petty differences you might have, the fact that you might not like the person you're flying with, stuff like that, you're just going to have to put it away. A professional pilot does not let that get into the way of getting the job done. If you have a disagreement, if someone is being nasty to you or whatever, then just keep it in, do your job in a professional way, and then when you get down on the ground and you're not flying anymore, then by all means bring it up and tell them that I do not appreciate the way that you spoke to me, or I don't like this. Let's talk about that. But keep the conflicts out of the cockpit as much as it's humanly possible. Let's see. Okay, guys, so apparently there was a stop in the stream there for a while. Can you hear us? Can you hear me now? Okay, guys, is it working? Okay, good. So basically, I am sitting in a hotel, so there is a possibility that the internet connection drops out from time to time. Just continue asking your questions, guys. I will continue to try to reconnect the connection whenever it disappears. Right, more questions here. Nicholas Wenden, are you qualified on the 737-700? Yes and no is the correct answer. I am rated on the 737-300 to 900, which means that I am legal to fly on those. However, course on the 700, which is a different that you do it in case you have done suitability tests or not before entering. It's because you've done a the ones who have done suitability tests tends to be more successful at the end than people who should not, well, who should have done a suitability test but did their training without doing it and then started failing. So there's no distinction between people who did the suitability test and who got through the interview and people who did not do the suitability test and gone through the interview, because they've all retained a certain level, if that makes sense. Right. It seems like we're still having problems, guys. Tell me if you hear or see what I'm saying now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to disconnect and connect again. Okay, can you hear me? Apparently not. Okay, guys. Hello again. I'm back. Can you all hear me? Right. So basically, I'm sitting in a hotel. The sound and the quality of the video streaming seems to be so and so, but I'll continue as long as I have. Becca Perez. Great to hear that you can actually hear me. Let's see if you have any questions. Nathan Gray, are you in London to instruct and examine? I am. I have actually done my week. I have done some operational proficiency checks for a couple of days, and now I'm done, so I'm going to go back towards Barcelona tomorrow. Kevin Connolly, when are the blogs back, or did I miss a few? The blogs are going to be back very soon. The fact is that I've been working very hard, and I've been debts series from my family, so I haven't been able to make any more blogs for a while because I just have to spend some time with my family as well. Writing Station 7, have you ever seen a UFO? The fact is that I have seen some strange stuff. Like, I haven't reported any UFO, but I have seen lights and things that could be viewed as, well, it's been very hard to explain without any TCAS signals, so to say. David Eber, did you have time enough to work while being a cadet? No. No. No, when I was doing, if you, depending what you mean by being a cadet, when I was doing my high school together with my pilot training, that meant that I was doing 2 full-time courses at the same time, so there was no time to work then. When I was doing my multi-engine and my MCC course, then yes, I could actually work. I was a firefighter, and I was working, when I started my current job, that was my work. So when I was a cadet in my current airline, I was working with that, and that's it. Andre Laposan, hello. I have to choose between New. First of all, they both sound like excellent places to go. I would love to go to New Zealand. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful. I saw what what I would choose between those two. You're gonna have to look at the entire picture. You know, just put plus and minuses into columns like you do, and the ones that have more pluses, that's the one you go for. Look at the economical impact. Look at your life experience. But try that. Sit down, make a list, and choose the one that seems better for you. So, more questions. Concorde, what is the best way to get into the Air Force? Well, I have never gone for the Air Force, to be perfectly honest. I believe that you just apply for it and then you're going to go through a series of testing, which are grueling tests. And if you manage to pass all of them, then you are going to succeed and you're going to get through. But I don't think that there are any better or worse way to get into the military. Writing station 7. What is the hardest place you've had to land at? Well, you know, most of the places are made in a way they're not supposed to be very, very hard to land at. But there are places that are more complicated than others. There's a place called Toulon in southern France, which has a quite complicated circling maneuver, which is not a full 180-degree circling, but it's a 90-degree circling, and it's full of helicopters and small aircraft and terrain around it. That one is one of the ones that I find most complicated to land at. But the rest of the network that I'm flying to is fairly benign, fairly uncomplicated to fly to. More questions. Kevin Connolly, are pilot licenses in the USA the same as in Europe? Well, licenses are done under the FAA. Licenses probably contain more or less exactly the same things. However, they've been licensed by different authorities, which means that if you want to go from flying in the FAA to flying under EASA rules, you do need to do a conversion course, and you probably need to rewrite some of the exams. The best way of knowing exactly how to do this is to contact one of the flight schools who do these conversions, but it is absolutely possible to do. Michael Murray, will you be flying the new Belfast route? If there is a new Belfast route and I am on it, I will definitely fly it. I would love to fly up to Belfast. It looks cool. Mr. Barks, let's see there, it's going past very quickly here now. So Mr. Barks, how did you start to get the hang of radio communication? And if you used any books or so to help you learn? What is the name of those books? Well, I didn't use any books to learn it. Basically, the only way to learn radio communication, ATC communication, is by being subjected to it, which means that you need to practice it. There are, however, some tapes that you can listen to. Most of the time, the only thing you need to do really is just listen and know what you're supposed to be listening for. And once you know what you're supposed to be listening for, it all starts to make sense. So those tapes are helpful because you kind of get the lingo going. But apart from that, it's just about flying, listen to different dialects and getting used to it. And once you do know what you're expected, you know, what kind of clearance you can expect to get, then what sounds very, very complicated actually becomes quite simple after a while. But it does take some time and it does take a lot of practice. Cool Kids Vids, have you ever flown a 747? I have not operated a 747. I have to try though. The Queen of the Skies is something that I think every pilot would like to try once. I have loads of friends who are flying it. Cool Kids Vids again, Boeing or Airbus? Well, I'm a Boeing guy. I fly the Boeing. However, I would love to try the Airbus as well. I think that they have a good system going. It's completely different philosophy from what I'm doing, and I like to challenge myself. So I would love to try to fly an Airbus at some point. Joel Pettersson, what language do you speak? Well, I speak Spanish a little bit, not as much as I would like to, but I can get by with it. I speak a little bit of Catalan as well. I speak Danish, well, not Danish actually, I just understand the Danish, but only a little bit. Gameplay GTA Italy. What do you think about Italy? Italy is a beautiful country. I love flying there. I love the food. I love the people. It's a nice country. So I really like spending time in Italy. Here, do you fly to Dublin with your airline? I do, and I was there only a few weeks ago, actually. Dylan McIlliton, what is involved in the MCC and the jet orientation courses? Okay, so I've actually, once you've until the up until that point, you've been flying even the more complex aircraft with two engines. You've been flying that single pilot. So the MCC course is the bridge course where you learn how to operate in a cockpit where there are more than one pilot. So how to read checklists, how to fly. That's what's done in an MCC course. Okay, an MCC course is not supposed to be graded. It's just supposed to be a course, and it's normally extremely fun to do. Okay, it's what you're looking for. It's the last step that makes you feel like you're actually going into the airlines. And um, sorry, let's just here, just back now. Aviation in Cambridge, and they do both MCC and jet orientation courses. You can go to their website, check out what they're doing. They have very good reputation, and I've been working with them before, so have a look at their website. Jet orientation course is like what it sounds like. It's a way for you to learn how to operate jet aircraft, because jet aircraft are different than propeller aircraft. They will be, the way that the engines work, it will take a bit longer for them to respond, and also it's a much more complex type of aircraft. So jet orientation courses are normally a way for you to get a little bit of a head start towards the others when it comes to looking for an airline job. But check out Virtual Aviation. They do both jet orientation and MCC courses. More questions. What is your favorite place to fly to? I actually really like flying to Malta. For some reason, I love flying in there, and it's a really good airport. It has good ILSs from both directions, and it's beautiful. So Malta is one of my favorite places to fly to. Dan, how hard are maths and physics? Well, it's depending on how you see it. Okay, the math is not very hard when you're actually working as an airline pilot. However, when you're doing your ATPL course, you're going to have to do navigation, for example, and navigation does have a little bit of math inside of it. You don't need to be a mathematics genius. Okay, it's perfectly enough if you know, if you can handle mathematics good, you can do some easy equations, you understand Pythagoras, you do simple equations, things like that is perfectly okay, right? But you are going to need to understand mathematics in order to understand fully all the ATPL subjects that you need to do. Physics is the same. Like, flying is physics. In order to understand meteorology, you need physics. In order to understand aerodynamics, you need physics. So understanding physics is the foundation to understanding flying. So yeah, you do need to understand and, comprehend those subjects quite well in order to be successful, both in the theory but also as an airline pilot when you start working. More. Do your ears, so Scott Young, do you get used to your ears popping when you're descending? Yeah, you do actually. The fact is that my ears does not pop anymore because you get used to kind of opening the what are they called? The Eustachian tubes, I think they're called here, the connections between the throat and the inner ear. So you kind of move your jaw forward, and that stops the air from popping, and after a while you don't even recognize that you're doing it anymore. The only times that you have problems, or at least I have problems with my ears popping, is when I get a cold. So when I get a cold, my eustachian tubes always block up, and as soon as I start having those problems, I can't fly. I have to sit on the ground for a couple of days in order for the cold to disappear so I can continue flying again, because you do not want to fly when your sinuses or your ears are completely blocked. It's very dangerous. You can pop your eardrum, and that's going to keep you from flying for months. More questions. Hi Mentor, did you attend a 4-year university? I did not. I went straight from the equivalent of college into my aviation career, so I did not have a 4-year degree, which means that if I were to apply for some of the airlines that has that as a requirement, I probably will not be able to. I always tell people who ask me this question that it's a good thing to have a degree. Okay, it's a good thing because A, you will be able to apply for almost all airlines that have a backup plan in case something would happen to your aviation dream. You never know, if you would get a stick in your eye, or if you, for whatever reason, do not want to continue your aviation career. If you have a degree, you have something to fall back on, and you have a secondary career that you can follow. So if you have the time and the money to spend, then sure, go for a 4-year degree. That's something that I've been telling people. If not, you can still get an airline job without the degree. The gaming squid, do you pick where to fly? No, I don't. I get a roster every Friday. I get a roster for the upcoming week and a scheduled roster for the next month, and where the people, the very skilled scheduling people that we have in our airline, have picked together the flights so that I will stay within my hourly limits, my flight time limitations, and so they choose completely where I'm going to fly. However, I can, if I want to fly a specific flight on a specific day, I can always try to swap flights with whoever captain is going to fly that flight, to try to get it that way. So there is possibilities to influence the flight roster, but generally I have no input in what I'm going to fly. More questions then. Edward, be a pilot with dyslexia, a big, huge company group. To become a pilot, of course, is going to have the license is done. However, it is possible if you really, really try. But yes, it's going to be hard, just like with everything else. But yes, it is possible. Would you, let's see, would you fly an Airbus 380? Well, I would if they would pay me to. If I would get a job where I could fly the Airbus 380, then I would gladly fly it. It's not, basically the way it works is that once you have a certain amount more things like, family life, where do I get the best life quality, not so much which aircraft type you're flying. So this means that if I can get a job where my life quality and the quality of life for my family is good enough and I fly the Airbus 380, great. If I happen to fly the Airbus 319, that's also great, or the 737, or a Twin Otter, or whatever it might be. Bijo Sebastian, do you play Flight Simulator? No, I don't. No, when you fly 100 hours a month, at least I do not have the interest to win to you guys. On you mentioned the 360 app. No, not at the moment. This is that the Mentor 360 app. The feedback that I'm getting from you guys, the ones who have bought the app, is absolutely fantastic. Everyone loves it. Okay, but HTC Vive and Oculus at the moment are very much for gamers, and the way that my part is very Rift. However, in future versions, we might well do one for Samsung Gear, for example. And I'm going to continue to work on this concept, providing that you guys like it. Let's see. Morten Birkelig, kommer du från Norge? No, I'm not. I come from Sweden. So Luke Jarvis and landing. There are different types of approach approaches available. The most common one is what's called an ILS, which stands for Instrument Landing System, where basically there are two radio beams, one showing how you're doing lateral wise and one horizontal wise. And it's fed information to our instruments, and the instrument is showing by what you're talking guys achieve your goals and your dreams is what I am working on now. I am, together with this, working on my company, Mentour 360, which is hoping to, I'm hoping to be able to use the channel and Mentour 360 to bring in enough money for me to continuously build on this, to make it better, to get more things into the channel, more things into the app, and you will see that I'm coming up with more things about this coming up. But for now, I would love for you guys who have not got the app yet to go into App Store, get the Mentor 360 app, because it really helps and it funds this development of both the channel and the company. So have a look at it. I highly recommend it. More questions, guys. Daniel Frost. Jag är half dansk, half engelsk, so I'm half Danish, half English. Is it better for me to do the training in Great Britain or Denmark? Well, once again, where you want to do your training, guys, is going to be highly up to you. It's going to be depending on what you think is best. England is good for the fact that you will improve your English. Most of the best flight schools in Europe are situated in England, but we also have some very good flight schools in Denmark. So if that means that you can stay at home and save some money, that might be the best thing for you. But before you decide on any school, make sure that you do proper research, look up the school, talk to previous students, see what they're saying, and go to open days, visit the school before you decide on where you're going to go, okay? Okay, guys, it seems like it's stopping again. Guys, can you see me? So Burak Chak, hi Mentor, thank you so much for your helpful videos. Well, thank you for supporting. My question is, for being a private jet pilot, is CPL adequate or do we need a type rating? Well, that depends on what kind of private jet that you're intending to fly. Most private jets will have some kind of type rating connected to it. So you do need your CPL, you need your multi-engine, you need your instrument rating, you probably need your MCC course, and in most cases, if it's a so, how do you cope with an inexperienced co-pilot during training? Well, that's all what training is about. That's what I do. I am a training captain, so I know that everyone has to start from somewhere. Um, People who are coming in as cadets into my airline have worked really hard to go there, to get there. I know that they've done a beautiful job, a great job in their type rating. So I know that these people have all the potential and all the skills needed to become really good airline pilots. And that's my job, to help them to find those skills, which means that we have to subject them to different things. They have to do precision approaches, non-precision approaches, hand flying, all of that under my supervision. And if things are getting too hard, I will take over the controls. But in most cases, I will let people fly as much as possible because that's really how you learn. So yeah, I mean, it's hard work to work with people who are really inexperienced, but it's also very rewarding to do so. I thoroughly believe that you need to love training in order to be a good training captain. Okay. Mr. Burks, what was your first pilot job and how did you adapt in first flight? The first flights, very few people even remembers the first flight in an airline job because it is so busy. You are so concentrating on doing a good job and the learning curve is so steep that the first day normally goes by in a blur, and it's only after a couple of days that you're really starting to appreciate that you're now handling a huge 737 or 747 or whatever it might be. And when you start to do that, it means that you have a bit of extra capacity, so things are, going well. Daniel Frost, is the aviation language English? It is, yes. English is the international aviation language. Niemand, have you been to Germany? Many times, many times. I've flown numerous times to Germany, and it's lovely. Smoothie was my real name. My real name is Petter. So, not Peter, Petter. That's Peter with 2 T's. Keaton Evans, what is your favorite part of the job, and what aircraft did you fly during your initial training? In my initial training, I flew the Cessna 150, the Cessna 172, the Cessna 182 with retractable gear. I flew the Cessna 340 for my multi-engine rating. I did my MCC course on a Fokker 28, and then I did my type rating on the Boeing 737-800. My favorite part with this job, there's so many things, if you're a pilot and you like flying, you're always going to love taking off, putting that power on, those huge engines spooling up, shooting you down the runway, taking off into a sunrise is beautiful. Same with landings. Landings is a bit more tricky, so every landing is different. You have to adapt to it. You can do a good landing, you can do a less good landing, so it's always a challenge for you. The best things with the job is the fact that I get to spend a lot of time with my family because I have quite a lot of time off. It has some perks. I have some standby days where I'm at home, where I'm actually being paid to be home. That doesn't happen in many other jobs. But on top of that, the people that you're working with, what you do, but you're flying an aircraft, different continents or different countries every day. That fantastic. There's so many things in this job that is great. So I can't really pinpoint one exact thing. Do you have any tip for fear of flying? Well, actually, I spoke about that in the beginning of this video, so you can just scroll back and have a look at that. Christian, is it difficult to get the cow level 6 is quite difficult. That means that you're a native speaker. Okay, it means that you be able to speak, explain that 6. Yeah, then it should be possible to get level 6. More questions, but we're running out of time here, guys, so I'm going to finish this live stream very soon. Bootleg Bernie, hi man, hi. So it seems like I'm still having. Can you guys see me? Just tell me if you can see me or not. Ali. Don't you get bored of flying? I mean, sitting down for hours, looking at the clouds, no view of ground while cruising. Can you expand on this topic, please? Yeah, no, I mean, the honest answer to that is, of course, at times you get bored. Okay, there's no job in the world which you can do without at some point being a little bit bored. And sitting in cruise for 3 hours straight, watching a completely opaque cloud layer can get boring. So then you would hope that you're sitting together with someone who is interesting to speak to. But the job in itself, seen over a long period of time, is so diverse with different weathers, different routes, different airports you're flying to, different people you're flying with, that you don't get bored of the job as such. But sure, you can have periods during your work where you get bored. More questions, and I'm going to take the last couple of questions now, guys, before I give up for today. How old are you? That's an easy one. I'm 35 years old. I started flying when I was 20, which means I've been flying professionally for 15 years now. I became a captain when I was 25 years old. Comedy shorts gamer. No, I will not do that. Donny Markov, do you want your kids to become pilots? I want my kids to succeed in whatever they want to do, just like I want you guys to be successful with whatever it is that you want to do. This means that if my oldest boy comes up to tell me that he wants to dance the ballet, I'm going to try to help him to do that. If he wants to become a plumber, I'm going to find the best colleges to become a plumber. I am fully intent to help my kids do whatever they want. If I wanted to become pilots, sure, pilot is a great job, but I also know all the difficulties that might be connected to it. So I am not going to try to impose my job on them. If they want to become a pilot, I'm going to help them with that. Why are the medical tests more or harder in Prague than in Vienna? I have no idea. They shouldn't be. The medical class 1 IATA medicals should be the same exactly all over Europe, no matter where you go. So there should not be any difference. More questions. So, do you add some more videos to your Mentour 3x60 app soon? Right. I'm going to talk about this and then I will finish off today. So the way that this works is that the Mentour 360 app that is available out there now, it has 4 different scenarios, 5 different videos inside of it with go-arounds, with rejected takeoff evacuations, with wind shear escape maneuvers, with TCAS avoidance. All of that is included in that app. Okay. That app is fixed the way it is. In order for me to add any extra videos to that, I'm going to have to redo and make a completely new application. So that app will stay the way it is. Okay. However, I am working right now on a new app, and that app is going to be significantly different from what you've seen now. I have every intention to make that app free. Okay, for you to download. There will be free videos inside, but there will also be videos inside that you'll be able to buy. And the reason that they are going to cost a little bit of money is because I have to fund this. I have to make sure that I can keep producing videos, keep paying people, keep coming up with new stuff basically. So there will be some paid videos, there'll be some free videos, but yes, there is new things coming. I cannot promise exactly when it will be there, but it will be there. So the more people who buys the current app, the quicker I will be able to produce the new app. So stay tuned. I promise you that you will like what is coming. That's it, guys. I am going to say thank you for today. I hope you liked the live stream. There's going to be more live streams coming later on. I might do live streams with specific themes. But before I go, guys, I really want you guys to go in and interact with my Mentored Cadets. I also want to hear what you think. Do you like the Mentored Cadets program? Is there anything that you would like changed? Or is there any specific subjects that you want any of our specific cadets to talk about? I will continue to introduce more cadets. There's about 3 or 4 more cadets that is going to be introduced to the channel, and then I'm going to start rolling over. So I'm going to let Maria do videos about the things that you asked her about, and I'm going to ask Diffrig to do videos about what you asked him for. So the Mentor Cadets program is going to continue to evolve depending on what you guys want them to talk about. So please ask your questions to them. Tell me what you think. Send me a private message. Tell me if there's something specific you want me to speak about. I am probably going to start visiting flight schools as well to talk about things that you want to know in the flight school. So that might be coming up very soon. So stay tuned. There's a lot of exciting things happening on this channel. For now, as always, I hope you're doing fantastic. I wish you a really pleasant day, and I see you next time. Bye bye.